today. Today is a very auspicious day, also Saraswati Pujan, and we are doing a project which is directly related with the student affairs and the local community. So I think let us start with Saraswati Mantra. I'll recite that 3 times. Om Shreem Reem Saraswate Namah. Om Shreem Reem Saraswate Namah. Om Shreem Reem Saraswate Namah. And welcome all guests, friends, and well-wishers of the students for whom we are doing this very important session. And we are very happy that the government of Ontario has been supporting all out for this cause. And we had our first session on the first day of this year, which was the first Saturday of January. And today again in February, we are meeting on the first Saturday, and we will continue to do that next few months and hope to serve the community and specifically the students living in Ontario who have come all the way from India, and we would like them to be very successful here in Canada. In the last session, we had actually 2 MPPs with us, Mr. Amarjot Sandhu and Mr. Deepak Anand. And today we are very glad that Honorable Nina Tangri, MPP for Mississauga Streetsville, and also we are proud that she is now Ontario's Associate Minister for Small Business and Red Tape Reduction. So we welcome Nina ji, and we would like to hear your words of wisdom and what you have to tell us as a community and also the students. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you, Nina ji, all yours.
Thank you so much, Surinder ji, and namaste everyone. Good afternoon. It really is a great pleasure to join you all here today. And first of all, I want to thank the Vishwa Hindu Parishad Canada for the work that you're doing in collaborating together with the students, the mentors, businesses, and community organizations that all come together to help support all of these students that are coming here. You know, many of us came, whether we got married and came to Canada, whether we came on our own behalf or as a student. You know, it's a struggle always in the beginning. And, you know, many of us have been lucky and fortunate enough to have support when we arrive. But for many of these students, they're coming here, they're alone, they don't necessarily know anybody. And with COVID and the pandemic, it's just been so difficult. And I think, you know, COVID was the beginning of this, where we didn't want our students to feel that they were alone. Many community organizations came together to provide food and groceries, for example. So, you know, I think it's just so critical that everybody together is collaborating to make sure that our students feel safe and welcome, and we all want to see them succeed. I think that's just so critical. As you had Amarjot Sandhu on last week, he'd have told you that he came here as an international student, and to show you the success that he's had since coming here. He's a great colleague of ours, works very, very hard. And also, you know, it's I think it's just so critical that when we all do meet with our students, when we talk to them and make them understand and feel that they're not alone. I think that's something I've heard from many students myself. I do numerous calls with colleges and universities, and we bring some of the students in so we can hear from them as well as the colleges and what the challenges that they're facing. Something that I'm working on within my ministry is working on the accreditation process. So, you know, many of you perhaps came from India or other countries with degrees and professional designations, but it wasn't always recognized in Ontario. So you had to have that accreditation process which often took a very long time, and then have to do numerous more exams in your field to be able to qualify and do the job that you knew best. So we're streamlining that process significantly in our government. We're making it so much easier, but it also works with students too. When they come here, they perhaps come from another college in another country, just recognizing those credentials that they already have. I think it's just so important. It's something our government heard many times. I've heard it for decades from people that have come here. You know, it's a common known saying that we have the most educated taxi drivers in the world, because they come here, they come with families sometimes, and they have to struggle and survive and don't have the times or the means to go back to school, college, university to get re-educated again. So there's more that we can do always as a government. Something we're also doing with the colleges and universities, we're working with them within to make sure that their credits do transfer much more easily. Because I think that's just so important, that for many reasons, they may have to change colleges and they want to make sure that the work they've already done will carry on to the new college or university that they do attend. So that's something that we're working on right now, very stringently. You know, there's so much been happening. The students, even though many of them were excited about coming to Canada because of COVID, they had to do their classes online abroad and missed the experience of being here as well. So hopefully that will start getting back to normal very soon. But I'm really wanted to just once again thank each and every one of you for the work you're doing by mentoring many of these students, being with them, helping them as soon as they arrive here in Canada, so they know that they're not alone. There's more we can do, and I'm certainly looking forward to hearing what many of you have to say and what you're doing to support all of the students. I also want to take a moment to also thank the Consul General's office and Apurva Srivastavaji, who's, you know, she's taken a lead in many of the areas. As soon as COVID hit, and we heard from many students that were so worried they weren't able to go to work for enough hours. So we changed that law very quickly, where they could only go to work for 20 hours a week. We very quickly had that changed to 40 hours so that they could work full time and make a decent living. But for so many of them, it was not possible. So I see Apurvaji now, and thank you for the work you did by collaborating with all of the organizations and providing food and groceries. I think that was just so important for many of them. So I'll stop there. Thank you again. I really do look forward to hearing from all of you. It's nice to see so many faces that I've known in the past, and so many new faces as well. So once again, thank you very much. Namaskar.
Namaskar. So if there's any quick question for Neena ji, I think we can take one or two quick questions.
Sunji, I can ask Neena ji if there's any specific programs with the government of Ontario that could be leveraged for helping our youth who are coming here as students. Any specific programs or any nodal point in your government where we can reach out and provide support to them?
So as far as the college students themselves, everything that we do is through the colleges and universities, even if it's a private career college as well. So we do work with them to make sure that they are providing services to the students. So less or so directly, but we do provide funding to all of the colleges and universities, not as much to the private ones, but we do work with them if there's any. Look, I have an open door policy. We're always available for suggestions and any ways that we can help. If we don't hear from you, if we don't hear from the students, we're not sure of what it is that they need, because we're not in their shoes. So we're always open to listening and to hearing if there's something that we can do better. Not everything is to do with money and funding. A lot of it's just to do things a little bit differently and just to make it easier and streamline things. That's what, as the Minister of Red Tape Reduction, that's my job. And that's what I've been trying to do significantly. So it's working. I have a new legislation coming out as soon as we return on February 22nd that will streamline some areas that should help a lot of people, including that accreditation process I was talking about.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I think Rakesh Goenka ji has a question, and then
thank you for letting me ask a question. And Neena ji, this question is for Ontario government. There is a crack when students complete their 2 years or 1 year of education permit. and they move on to full-time employment, they do not get healthcare immediately activated. They are taxpayers when they're working 20 or 40 hours during study time, and when they get full-time employment, they also are taxpayers. Yet, there was a situation where the course ended on September 30th. They got a job on October 1st. The individual had to go to a hospital around 10th of October, and they had no Ontario health coverage. I do not know if it has come to your notice or if there are multiple cases, but this is something that government should look at.
I'm not on mute. Thank you, Rakeshji. You know, that is a serious concern, because when they have coverage when they come as students, and then there is that little gap in between. They're not PRs, they're not students anymore, they're now in the working world. But once they receive their work permits, my understanding is that they do qualify for OHIP, but I'm going to take a look at that. I did have some constituents that came to my office that were caught in the middle of a lot of those. We were able to assist many of them. You know, nobody knows when they're going to get sick. Nobody knows when they're going to need to go to hospital. And if there is a gap there, if there is coverage that they needed that can't be provided by the government, then we need to make sure that's addressed in some way at all, whether it's the employer that supports them, whether it's something else. But, you know, if we as a government, they will not go without being taken care of. We will make sure that if they need to go to hospital, that they will be taken care of regardless of their ability to pay. But we can work with the local hospital and through OHIP to find ways to give them support, because it's the last thing they need is, you know, they finish school, they start working, they have a car accident or something happens, and tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars later, they're already in debt. That's the last thing they need.
Thank you for your assurance.
Thank you.
I'll take that back. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ninaji. And before we move to the next speaker, Consul General of India, I just wanted to let all the guests know that, and we are in this program, what we are trying to do is we are trying to connect the mentors and mentees. The mentors would be experienced people from our community who are willing to give their time to guide the students. And the mentees are like new students who have come or who are already here. And it'll be an experience for them. Supposing you come to a new country for the first time and you already have a elder brother here, how comfortable it feels, you know. He can guide you, he can hold your hand, and he can take you through, and you'll be definitely more successful if there's a elder brother to guide you. So the mentors who are coming in and joining this program have to come with that kind of spirit that they have to act like elder brothers to all the students who have come from India. We want to hold their hand, take them forward, and want them to be successful here. And the mentees, the students who are coming, who want to join this program, have to come with that spirit. So we would like to guide, and then we'll pick up, and they can all enroll on the website. We have put the two options, and people can get into that. So that's what how we want to run this program and make it successful. We are not just creating an awareness and leaving it there, but we are going to hold the hands of the students and take them forward. So now I'll request Mrs. Apurva Srivastava, Consul General of India, to say a few words. She's a career diplomat for over 21 years, joining the Indian Foreign Service in the year 2001. Prior to Toronto appointment, she served for 2.5 years in a very key assignment with the Honorable Minister for External Affairs, late Mrs. Sushma Swaraj, shaping India's new foreign policy at that time. In her diplomatic career, Purvaji has served twice in the Indian Embassy in Paris and also in the Indian Embassy at Kathmandu from 2009 till 2012. In New Delhi, she had played two important roles as Under Secretary SARC and as Director Administration. She is married to Mr. Anshuman Gaur, another career diplomat posted in Ottawa, and they are blessed with 2 daughters. We are fortunate to have Purvaji's insights on the burning issue of the Indian students in Toronto, and she has been personally taking a lot of interest. And a week ago, they had done a similar web seminar, and there was a very great interest into that. And then we have taken over from there, and we are going to do it a monthly session. Over to Purvaji to hear your plans and your guidance to us.
Thank you, Surinder Sharmaji, and thank you VHP Canada and the whole team for taking lead in this wonderful initiative to create a support network for Indian international students. And I take this opportunity to wish all of you a happy Basant Panchami and Saraswati Puja. It's very apt that you are doing this student seminar on this auspicious occasion, and I hope this is the first one, and this monthly thing will definitely help a lot of students. We all know that the cooperation in especially higher education between India and Canada, it's a very important part of India-Canada strategic partnership. In Canadian universities and colleges are so well known in India for imparting world-class education, and due to this, a large number of Indian students come to Canada. It's the top source. India is the top source of foreign students for Canadian universities and colleges. Currently, we have 200,000 plus Indian students studying in Canada. And Indians are the largest source of human capital to Canada, both in terms of students and in terms of immigrants also. We have close to 800,000 people living here with Indian passports. Of course, this brings a lot of large revenue to Canadian economy, and after their studies, these students stay in Canada and contribute to growth and development in Canada. Especially in last 2 years, things have been very precarious, especially for the students. We have been meeting personally with a lot of large number of Indian students in various universities and colleges. We organized several Zoom meetings, and generally, I would take the students for general idea about students as they are generally happy, and want to take this opportunity to thank the federal government and the provincial government. Nina Tangri ji is here today with us, and the kind of support that was provided to students during this hard COVID time was really appreciated by the students. We were in touch with various universities. We created this group of concerned community groups all across my jurisdiction, and from Manitoba to Atlantics, which is still working, and and community organizations, they geared up and supported students during those hard times. So I would really appreciate not only the government of Canada, the government of Ontario, but also the community organizations who have been working really hard to alleviate the miseries of the students during the COVID times. We have also been hearing, in my experience of around 2.5 years in Canada, the kind of, and I meet a lot of students and a lot of teachers, and we come across some really unfortunate and disturbing news stories, news about Indian students committing suicide, unfortunate deaths due to drownings, especially in summers. In winters, it's accidents. Sometimes it's drug abuse. So these deaths and these kind of stories have raised serious concern, not to be about the mental health of the student community. While we have been working with various support groups and universities to help the student access the support system when they are confronted with such challenges, I feel this problem has to be addressed by involving the whole community. All of us need to make concerted efforts to make sure that every student is supported in best of the possible way to deal in this difficult situation. And that is why today's, this initiative is really welcome. While the consulate and the community is always there to resolve student grievances, I must say that, in these situations, many of these situations could be avoided if students follow these certain do's and don'ts. So my request is, as soon as a student get admission in an academic institute in Canada, he or she must register on Mother portal and also on the consulate websites. There have been so many instances where we get a phone call from the student or the friend or the family late at night, and we have no no way to contact the student. We have no way to contact. So if the person is registered with us, it will be a great help, and we won't lose those valuable time to to connect to people, or to take them to hospital, or to whatever efforts we can do. Regarding the counselor services, our website is our website has all the details, and I'll request all students to get themselves acquainted with the consulate and other services provided by the consulate, because many of them are needed by them. We advise them to follow our social media pages, where it's a very effective way to engage with the consulate. You not only know about the media releases, the press releases, but also the various activities going on in the community where they can participate. It's as an advice to students, we get several complaints that they lose their passports. So on the counselors, so we really advise them to keep their passport updated. We impart so many counselor services like passport, police clearance certificate, visa, OCI, through consulates outside outsourcing agency BLS. The consulate has resumed attestation of the Indian driving license of the Indian nationals living under the consular jurisdiction of CGI Toronto. So as soon as they come, they can apply for all these. I'll request, if in case of a death in your circle, please immediately contact emergency number 911. At the same time, reach out to us on the emergency number, or write officially to us on welfare.toronto for handling death cases. In such cases, consulate offer repatriation services of the mortal remains, and any other support, coordinating between families, and all these things. So in winters, there are a lot of unfortunate events of accident, and the students don't. And many of time I realize that it's simple things which could have been done by students, like putting seat belts on the back seat. So many I have seen at least 5 incidents where children were going for some tourism, and the front people had their seat belts on, the back seat didn't. The back people didn't have their seat belt on, and there's a crash, there's an accident, and the people without seat belt on, of course, they passed away. There are unfortunately a lot of drowning incidents, especially in summers. So I would like to advise the students that please follow all Canadian guidelines, follow all rules, because not everywhere you can jump in water. There's a difference in temperature, there's undercurrent which authorities know about, and it's really unfortunate and very surprising that how many students have lost their life due to drowning, and they just went for tourism, and they were in water and they drowned. So really, these are small things, but you all have to be very careful. These were the few things which I'd like to advise students, and please, at the end I would say that please reach out to us if you need any assistance. The consulate is your home away from home, and we would try to help you in every single way. And once again, thank you so much, VHP Canada, for putting together this institutional mechanism that there will be mentors for them, which is very important. And especially when our students, when they come from India, they are not used to doing household chores. They are only studying in India, but once they come here, they not only have to manage their own house, they have to manage themselves. They are first time they are so far away from the family, so there is a mental problem. So this kind of initiative will really help them to connect with the community and connect with us. So thank you so much once again, and we are here to support in any way possible. Thank you. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Apurvaji.
Thank you, Surendraji, and Apurvaji, thank you so much. I have one question coming from a student, and I'm not sure whether it will be you or maybe some of the immigration consultants or experts who are here in the forum. They might be able to solve this question. Ritwik Solanki is writing that when he landed here, there was an issue with his study permit where there were no remarks in it and no conditions in it. And so because of that, what's happening now, he's not able to apply for the SIN here. And SIN, you know, is a very essential document. Without that, we can't even go and apply for any jobs. So, and he has done some work to get it amended, but nothing has happened for months now. And now he's reaching a position where he has to actually apply for jobs and start it. So how we can fix this? Is there any way consulate can help, or any other avenues from where he can get some assistance?
We can definitely take it up. Ritwik, you can write to us, you can write to me personally, and I will definitely take it up. But it is, you have to follow up with the Canadian side, definitely. Maybe one of the immigration experts here can throw some lights on that. But I will definitely take it up. If you can send me an email with details, I'll definitely take up with the government.
I have sent an email to the consulate's office in Toronto in the last week. So please see if you can shed some light or help me out over here.
Yeah, sure. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Apurvaji. And I would like to add actually one point. When my first-hand experience about the passport was stolen, a lot of students get disguised by some of those agents out there who thinks and who actually say that if you lose your passport or if you hand over your passport to us, there's a better way or the much more expedited way to get a PR or a Canadian citizenship. So there are people out there in the market who are doing those types of things. So please stay away from those. Do not get into their tricks, and do not hand over your passport to anybody. That's a very personal and private document. You should always keep it confidential and safe.
And also there are so many fake calls. I think we must tell them about, this kind of fraud calls which you get from allegedly from RCMP and other agencies, which is actually fraud, and they ask you to submit that they are going to cancel the visa or something. So please don't, the official agencies only email it to you. They never call on phone to get your passport details or your other details. So please be very wary of these kind of phone calls. Many students have lost a lot of money because of that.
Thank you, Apurvaji. Surendraji, over to you.
Thank you. Okay, I'll give a little outline of today's program because we will talk a little bit about the immigration policy in the beginning. And then after that, we have two very senior academic people speaking. Dr. Mithali Day will be one of them, and
Prashant
Srivastav will be the second one. And then finally, we will have from Montreal, Dr. Dwivedi and his team, who are doing a lot of social work. But we didn't plan it, but I was just looking at the program. Surprisingly, we started with a political figure, then we went to a diplomat, and in between we have 5 engineers, and finally we'll be closing with a doctor. So it sounded very interesting, and I just saw the program. And now I will call upon Naresh Chavda. He's a very popular figure in the Indian community, and he, by qualification, he's a Bachelor of Engineering in Textile Technology. Then he added a number of more degrees, immigration consulting. Then he's also a Master of Law. Then he has also done Masters in Business Administration. He runs his own company, Globian Immigration Corporation, and he has been very active in the community and was one of the key persons when Prime Minister Modi visited Canada, and for making all the arrangements that time. And a major initiative which he has taken recently is he's the founder president of Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce. I think that's a big feather in the cap of all the Hindus across Canada. And he has organized the first event, which was on Zoom, a very, very successful event of the Canadian Hindu Chamber of Commerce. That's a good news for all to hear, and also the students who are listening to us. So I'll request Naresh ji to just throw some light on the immigration policies and all, so that we all know before we go to the next step.
Namaste everyone. Thank you, Surendra ji, VHP team, Ravi ji, for inviting for this second session on immigration. I want to congratulate Apurva ji and Honorable Minister Tangri ji and all other panelists who gave a time for this session to help international students actually. Last session, I tried to update about how the student become permanent residents, the process and general highlight. Just want to, before I start, I want to say a couple of things. It is not a legal guidance. It is general information I'm sharing as a professional. I am an immigration consultant in Canada as a RCIC, but it's a one-to-one. It's not a one-to-one guidance, but general information I want to share, which help to the community and international students. So 3 topics today I choose. I will complete within 8 to 10 minutes as the time given to me from the VHP team. So one is a gap between.
Naresh ji, sorry to interrupt you there. Really sorry. Apologizing for it. Is it possible to switch on your camera? But I think it's not on right now.
Yeah. Actually, I'm out of town, so.
Oh, okay.
But next time. Yeah. So yeah. So first topic is a gap in the study actually. So many international students come to Canada. They have a 4-semester or 2-semester program, and part of that program, what happened? Sometimes they have a gap because of various reasons, for the emergency travel to back home, their sickness, or sometimes there's an issue with college, and sometimes with issue with their result. What happened? And on those kind of situation, if they have a break for more than 90 days, it's count as a break between the study, and thus give a bad result in a future postgraduate or work permit application. So I always suggest all the international students try to complete the program as per your LOA, letter of acceptance you receive first time when you get the visa for Canada. That's a very important point. Sometime I recently heard like 2 colleges in Quebec, so they have like because of some government restriction, they shut down the whole program, and many international students in a first, second, or third semester, they are right now routed to some other colleges actually, and they have a gap. So this gap will be negative effect for your future work permit. So the final thing I want to say about this particular student gap is supposed to have a continued program as per LOA, letter of acceptance they have. In the letter of acceptance, they have official vacation or part of a summer break or any other break. Then they can go through that break time and they can work, or they can follow the rules as per the work permit they have. But other than that, they're supposed to complete the program within their LOA. This is one part. Second part about the work permit. So work permit, usually, as I mentioned, as per study, they get eligible to get the work permit. So it's not like every college, like all program have a work permit, like a possibility, or they eligible to get the work permit, postgraduate work permit. So you need to check on CIC website. Many college, they have a certain program allow for the postgraduate work permit, certain not. Mostly community college, they have all program are eligible for work permit, which is more than 6 months, means 2 semester. Now the second part is a spousal work permit. That's also many kids coming from all over the world, including India. They are married or part of study. They between the part of study they are married, and they want to apply for their spouse, for husband or wife. Those work permit, they are eligible to apply, but yeah, definitely it's not guarantee. And sometimes students come up like, as per the CIC guideline, we are eligible to get the spousal work permit. I'm right now current students. I have a very good credential part of my previous study, or like current study, like previous semester, and still my work permit is rejected for my spouse. So government have a limitation. Think like 200K international students, and if like half of, or like most of them are like married, and they allow each and everyone the spouse as a work permit holder, it's a like big task for the infrastructure wise and the government limitation of the number of people from temporary residence permit holder. So work permit, they are eligible to apply any international students for their spouse, but there is no guarantee. and sometimes less chances part of study because of the limitation of the number of seat for TRV, temporary residence permit holder in Canada, particular time period wise and the particular country they are belongs to. So what are the like plus point to get the work permit as a dependent spouse as for international students? Yeah. So who have a like travel history for various country, particular North America or the Western country, that's a plus point. Sometime already previously spouse have a visitor visa for Canada and they married with any international students and they apply for work permit. There is a history of Canadian visa. Those are the general plus point to get the work permit for the spouse as an international students here. Third is a permanent residence. So currently, because of pandemic, we like as a professional and in the community, we find many cases they have a like longer time to get the permanent residence card right now. They get the COPR, means landing paper, and it's electronically they are getting. But after that, like 60 days, 90 days, they are waiting for PR card, and they are here as international students or worker from long time. They won't need to visit. They want to visit to back home, and what they do actually. So this is very like PR card is a travel document which allowed you to enter in Canada as a permanent residence. COPR, like landing paper, is your status as a permanent resident. So once you have a COPR, landing paper, that's from that particular day you become permanent residents, and you are good to go to any country outside of Canada. And then when you want to back, you need to apply for travel document. Travel document is a one-time entry or one-time travel authorization, which is issued by Canadian High Commissioner. Canadian mission abroad, basically. It is not within Canada. So many students, they ask like, okay, I'm going on next month. Can I apply right now travel document? No. This is not a within Canada application. You are supposed to be outside of Canada, and you can contact the local mission, Ms. Canadian High Commissioner or consulate office. And over there, you can eligible to apply for travel document. How the travel document work and what they check. If you see the travel document application, but then they ask like, what's your residence history in last 5 years, or they become your PR. It's very important. Like students just become permanent residents and they are going outside for like within a month, and they don't have a residence history after PR. And the regular rules is a 2 year or 730 days. You need to stay in Canada to continue maintain your permanent residence. But you need to provide your other information like what you're doing in Canada when you are PR or the temporary residence permit holder. Basically your employment detail, your financial detail like banking information, your notice of assessment, tax document, and your residence address and other IDs document. And with that, you can apply for travel document with your explanation why you visit outside of Canada after becoming PR without PR card, and when you want to return back to Canada. And usually you will receive the travel document, and travel document is a kind of emergency services, part of emergency service for consulate service, like all the consulate and high commissioner. So they give the priority for travel document because people need to travel. And on that one-time travel authorization, you can come back to Canada, and meantime you will receive your PR card, and then you're good to go. So this is happening with many students. Why I'm saying like I see like hundreds of cases in the last 2 months in my office also, like people coming for travel authorization. They have various questions. So I thought like this is a good point to discuss to help the students now. So that's 3 points I want to cover. Thank you very much, VHP team, and Surendraji, Raviji, and Abhiji, and all other team members. So inviting me. And I want to recognize a couple of RCIC maybe here also. I believe from Shaneka Prasanji, Nagar Sarathji, and I think Abhiji also have RCIC. So they are also immigration professional. So yep, I want to recognize them right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Nareshji. And Abhi, you want to bring in some more questions, or?
Yeah, maybe I think Ritvik ji got an assurance from Apurva ji, so that's really encouraging. But Naresh ji, do you have any advice?
Yeah, I heard the question about Ritvik ji about the no instruction in the study permit. Is it study permit?
Yeah.
So basically, is a duplication of document or the new study permit he need to apply with a reason. But I request him whenever Service Canada or the authority saying no to him, he's supposed to have some written document also. So not like verbally he visit and they say no, but he's supposed to have, and those written document help to update his study permit. And definitely not from Indian consulate, I believe, is a Canadian authority documents and authority to deal. So he can contact CIC. He need to apply for new study permit basically, and he will get a new remark which is needed actually. Meantime, yeah, definitely if remark is not there, he's not able to get the SIN number and he's not able to work.
Good point. So I think Ritu ji, you have a clue here that maybe you can visit again to the SIN office, and if they are saying no, ask them to give it in writing so that you can use that as an evidence for your application.
Okay,
Thank you so
sure.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think anybody else, any questions, please feel free. This is your forum, students. Anything that you have, any doubt, questions, and believe me, there is no question as a stupid question. Everything we can ask here, and there are professionals available who can support you in answering your questions.
So if there's nothing else, then shall we go to the next segment where we have the two experts from the teaching profession?
Yes, Surendraji, can I just request Nareshji, can you put your, because what happens is sometimes the questions don't come to the mind right away. If you could put your phone number in the chat, then people can note it down, and if they have questions, they can contact you later on for any questions or any help that they might need.
Okay.
So, Dhanyavad Surendraji.
Because another point is, since we are recording this session, we are going to circulate also. There are going to be a lot of questions coming up later also after this session. It won't be just happening today. So if it's fine, then I will request Prashant Srivastava to come forward as the next speaker. I'll introduce him. He's MBA and a director South Asia at Seneca College, Toronto. And he's very actively involved with the Indian student community. And Prashant holds bachelor's in electronics engineering from Shivaji University, India, and MBA from UK, post-degree in business studies from Vancouver, Canada. Then he has got a certificate in immigration law, policy procedures from British Columbia. Prashant is currently Director Business Development, Middle East, North Africa, South Asia at Seneca College. He's leader in the international education sector with over 16 years of experience in international business development. Prashant has worked in the field of international marketing, student recruitment in US, Canada, and India. With a team of business development managers, he manages business relationship with 100+ recruitment, academic, industry partners in the Middle East, North Africa, and South Asia region. For the last few years, Seneca has experienced significant growth in the South Asian students, with over 5,000 Indian students enrolled at Seneca. With his efforts and drive, I think Prashant has made this program a great success. In his spare time, Prashant volunteers with various business chambers, international associations, community organizations, and in deepening Canada's international relations. His efforts have led to positive impact in the local community. So may we now request Prashant Srivastava to please give his thoughts to the audience.
So Surendraji, before we, I'm really excited to see a lot of questions coming up in the career section.
Okay.
So that is
sure. No, we'll welcome the questions.
Yeah. So I see like Prashant ji is already ready with some of the private jets in the back, ready to take off. So I want to set up the stage for him before he provides the guidance to our young students. There are three basic themes that I'm seeing right now in questions. One is about how to get the part-time jobs. One of the key question. Another one is how to establish Canadian experience, because people are in the similar courses, but they are seeing that they are not able to establish their roots as a professionals. And second one is how to develop even how to gain the experience in certain fields like accounting, etc. It's a catch-22 situation that you don't get a job unless you have an experience. At the same time, you don't get an experience unless you have a job. So those are the three basic lines, Prashantji, that I got until now. So whatever you have to guide our students, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you, Abhiji and Surendraji, for the kind introduction and also the questions. First of all, my greetings to everyone on the occasion of Basant Panchami and Saraswati Puja. What can be more auspicious day today to talk about education and guiding our international students from India. I really am thrilled, and I applaud Vishwa Hindu Parishad for taking this lead and a leadership role in nurturing the talent and also guiding them to the right path so they can succeed. So before I come to the question, I would like to highlight that how much significant international education as a sector is in Canada, that there are over 640,000 international students studying at all level in Canadian institution. Almost 50% of international students, they are studying in Ontario. According to Canadian Bureau of International Education, there has been 154% increase of international students in Canada from 2010 to 2018. So international students, they not only come to Canada, they contribute to the Canadian society. And like Apurva ji, also the Consul General and other dignitaries have spoken the contribution of Indian students. But overall, the international education sector, it contributes to over $22 billion in Canadian economy, and it supports over 170,000 full-time Canadian jobs. Not only that, international students, they further meet the shortage of skilled workers in Canada by working part-time while studying, and also they work full-time after completing their studies in Canada. In fact, in 2019, the Canadian Experience Class and Immigration Pathway designed for international students and foreign workers accounted over 34% of new immigrants in Canada. So this is how the international students have been contributing in the Canadian society, and the issues which we are talking today, that how to support them, the challenges they are facing, it has been prevalent for a long time since the coming of international students from India to Canada. However, due to COVID pandemic, these issues have come into the light. As you know that because of the pandemic, when it started in the spring of 2020, it turned all aspects of human life. And when WHO declared this as a pandemic, the travel restrictions were imposed. We saw many of the international students were strangled, and they had to live in isolation, and they had to follow the new norms, social distancing and physical distancing, which many of the international students were not used to. So this caused a lot of stress in the student community. And fortunately, with all the people around, especially the Consulate General of India and other key community groups like Vishwa Hindu Parishad, Canada India Foundation, many organizations, they came forward and they distributed groceries to international students. They did whatever was possible. Even there were some organizations which provided shelter, accommodation to international students. And in terms of as an institution, Seneca College contributed to over $10.5 million to students requiring financial aid in COVID. Through Seneca COVID-19 Relief Fund, we contributed to help 9,000 international and domestic students. The college also distributed 1,200 laptops to students who were in need. Also, as part of the vaccination drive, Seneca College has partnered with North York General Hospital to be its main community site for vaccination clinic. So there has been like support coming out during the pandemic from all fronts. However, these supports, as I would say, that is not also enough. And the questions also you have raised for international students, they are also very prevalent. However, many times our international students from India, they also are not able to understand the Canadian education system. So for instance, they are not able to also at times differentiate between a university and college, and the way the Canadian education at times has been promoted overseas, that also has raised a lot of concerns. And one of the previous panelists, they also raised issue of international students, that about their work permit with some private colleges being closed down. So that is why it's important for international students from India to do a proper research as well about the Canadian education system, about the institution they are applying. So for instance, like in terms of the education system in Canada, Canada is a federation of 10 provinces and 3 territories. And under the Canadian Constitution, provincial government has the exclusive responsibility for all level of education. There is no federal, there is no central Ministry of Education in Canada. In the province of Ontario, there were 24 publicly funded colleges established by the government of Ontario, and Ministry of Advanced Education and Skill Development is responsible for oversight of public education system in Ontario. In Ontario, colleges offer degrees, diplomas, certificate programs, and wide range of practical hands-on programs. So for Indian students, when they are choosing colleges, they many times in the Indian setup, they come into an understanding about the affiliation of colleges, whereas with a university, whereas here colleges are stand-alone bodies, and they work under the Ministry of Advanced Education and Skill Development. Here in Ontario, it is called Ministry of Universities and Colleges. So for students to understand the difference, it is also important to understand the programs which are offered, diploma programs, certificate programs, and practical degree programs, and how it differentiates with a university. So in college sector, the emphasis on the practical education, which is the applied education. So in India, you may have heard of polytechnics, and polytechnics were designed in India to offer practical education. So that same concept has a success story in Ontario with colleges like Seneca, Humber, many of the colleges offering polytechnic education, which is practical hands-on. As an example, like Seneca, we offer over 290 programs leading to 500 different career options. So at Seneca, the programs, as you see with the planes in my background, we have programs in aviation. Seneca has its own airport in Peterborough with 23 planes. Then we have several programs in business area, creative arts and animation, education and community services, engineering technology, fashion, health and wellness, hospitality, information technology. So these range of programs, they attract a lot of international students. And it means we are very proud to say that we have the largest number of international students in Canada, over 15,000 international students from 155 countries. Around 30,000 full-time students study in Seneca, and around 60,000 part-time registrants. So Seneca is one of the largest colleges. We have several campuses in Ontario, in Toronto, in the Greater Toronto area, in North York, in Markham, in the King City, and also on the premises of York University. And Seneca has a lot of partnerships with universities, options for students to complete degrees at Seneca, and also go to a partner university. Many of our programs, they are postgraduate programs, and these are not really master's degree, but postgraduate certificate program, and they attract a lot of students from India. We offer over 40 plus graduate certificate programs, and these programs also are in wide range, and these are like practical programs. Many of our programs would have co-op programs. Co-op is an experiential learning where students, they get practical experience while working, while studying. So student will do a program at Seneca, and within the program, we have a co-op by which student will work in the industry and then come back and complete the program. So your first question about being relevant to the job market is an answer to the college education, how college education is designed in the province of Ontario, that it is providing a relevant practical work experience while the student is studying. Then every program which we offer in Seneca, you will see at our website, has a career track. So what kind of profession student is interested, they can choose. Plus, we have embedded on our website AI-driven technology by which student can also check based on his interest what kind of career aspiration he would have, and then the program could be matched, and then they could select the program. So it is a student's decision what kind of program they want to study, what is a skill set they have, and based on that, the programs are designed. So the programs we offer in Seneca, they are designed in consultation with industry stakeholders. So you're talking about the employment. We have a program advisory board for any program we offer at Seneca. So those program advisory board will give inputs to Seneca to offer a certain program. And based on their inputs, the programs are designed. In terms of evaluation of the program, how the programs are successful, we have KPI indicators based on students' satisfaction, students' employment, and employers' feedback. Those KPI indicators are provided, and students are able to work in the relevant field. So in many sense, when students are looking into a practical education, hands-on experience, working in the relevant field, college education can be an answer. Also, when students are looking to work with industry, colleges provide also a good platform. Like many of our programs would have applied research feature. Applied research is a research activity which is being done in partnership with industry partner. We also provide students opportunity to nurture their entrepreneurship. We have an on-campus incubator, Seneca Helix, which helps students to nurture their entrepreneurial ideas and take them to the next level. So in terms of, you will see that how a 360-degree support is provided at an institution like Seneca. You talk about airport pickup. We provide free airport pickup. So all our airport pickup services are free, complimentary to students, as well as we also provide them housing assistance. We have immigration advisors on campus to help students when it comes to questions like what Ritik has asked. We have RCIC and RICIA designated international student advisor to help and guide students on these matters as well. In terms of placements, we have work integrated learning department and career services. We work with 1,000+ industry partners across Ontario for students placement as well. So in nutshell, that's how I would end my talk, and I'm open to other questions. Once again, thank you very much for the opportunity. I appreciate it. And I look forward working with Surinderji, Abhiji, and VHP Canada. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think, Abhiji, before we take more questions, why don't we have both the academic speakers finish, and then they both can answer jointly questions and supplement each other. So I think I'll introduce Mithali Dey, Dr. Mithali Dey, to come forward and give her views. Mithali and myself, we have worked for many years helping the new IITians after graduation who come to Canada, and we had actually set up a program within the IIT alumni very successfully. I can see Ujjwal Mondal also here. We were 3 people who started this program called IITians for IITians at that time. And same way, now I think we should take those kind of programs out to the community, and especially the problems which the students, new students are facing here. So let me introduce Dr. Mithali Dey. She's done her BSc from Madras University. Then she did her MSc also from IIT Madras. And then on coming to Canada, she did another post-graduation from University of Waterloo, followed by doctorate degree in systems design engineering there. And then she has been member of the, she is associate of the Institute of Canadian Bankers also. Currently, Mithali Dey is a full professor of global supply chain management at Laurier Business School at Wilfrid Laurier University, Waterloo. She held senior administrative positions such as Associate Dean of Business, Director of MBA Program, Director of Center of Supply Chain Management, Senior Advisor to the Dean on Internationalization, and Professor in the Department of Systems Design Engineering, University of Waterloo. And Mithali Day is also the winner of the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce Professional Female of the Year Award in 2006. Now I'll request Mithali to address, and then we take question answer for both.
Good afternoon and namaste to everyone. Thank you, Surinder, for that introduction. I hope I can just do justice to it. And thank you, VH Parishad, for inviting me giving me this opportunity to connect with you. As my immediate predecessing academic speaker, Prashant, has given a lot of details about the services that colleges offer, I'm going to take the angle that the students in this Zoom meeting have already know about those opportunities and have come to Canada, but according to the Consul General, we are seeing quite a few challenges that are not being addressed in the thousands of students that are coming to Canada. I live in Waterloo. My husband came here, just like Nina mentioned, with a scholarship to University of Waterloo in 1969. And at that time, Reserve Bank of India would allow only $13 to be taken out in their pocket. So that's how he came in 1969. And I followed. And as Surinder mentioned, my education, my life was all in Waterloo. So we have lived the growth of international students right in front of our eyes from 1969 to now. What I'm concerned about are three challenges that I see every day in Waterloo, where there are two main universities, University of Waterloo, Wilfrid Laurier University, my employer, and my alma mater, University of Waterloo, and very well-known Conestoga College, which connects with technology with both universities. Then we are also in a university ecosystem with University of Guelph, McMaster University, Western, Ivy around us. So we are in a big university ecosystem. Laurier has an MBA program in downtown Toronto. So I routinely drive to Toronto to teach there or also manage those programs. But one thing that has almost blown up in the community, I'm connected with the Indo-Canada local communities as well, and all the temples that are in the Kitchener-Waterloo area. We have now like 5,000 plus students in Conestoga College because of the colleges reaching out to Indian students to come here. We have always had students in engineering and computer science and business coming to Waterloo because of the background or the interest of the students. But the university pipeline is slightly different. They follow stricter guidelines in terms of admission. And I really hope that this sudden increase of students in the community, the students get justice to what I am sure. I was in my younger days, my parents brought me up. My father was a research scientist. I cannot imagine $30,000 to $40,000 being spent for an undergraduate degree, an easy job for every family that sends a kid to this country. Okay, so three things I have watched in terms of challenge, and I request VH Parishad to probably think about those. One is kind of related to the cultural shock that these young students, remember the students who come to an undergraduate first year are younger than the undergraduate first year student in the Canadian system. So they're like 16 years old sometimes compared to the 18-year-old. And the cultural shock, even if you speak English and even if you watch, you're on internet, and even if you watch Netflix, is not the same. And the CG, Mrs. Srivatsava was addressing drowning, winter shock, accidents, and even worse, other things that I have seen in the students in the community happening, is something that they are not prepared for. So I request, like your organization, you're doing excellent work and running these workshops and trying to build a connectivity. There should be a path where these students, when they land here, should have a pamphlet that they can call you and connect with you. I don't think they are given that piece of information, but if that piece of information is being provided, then that's wonderful. Okay, so the cultural bridge that these students know, that these students need, is extremely important. Someone's mic is not muted, so. Okay, even if there is no drowning or accidents, I saw a bunch of students the other day, don't have winter boots, don't have a spring jacket, and they're walking from the campus to work. Okay, leave alone hypothermia. If they get snow frost bites, their toes will have to be amputated, right? So that sort of a cultural gap is there among all the Indian students that are coming here, because they come from warmer countries, warmer weather. They do not understand what -40 means with chill factor. So, and this is a simple thing that we can extend to them. Okay. And the second thing is that what Prashant talked about, the misunderstanding of the difference of the different education systems here. Many people are led to believe that if they do a college degree, then they can move on to an MBA. And I routinely have talked to those people, but the Ontario government, our federal government, does not allow admission to MBA programs unless there is a bridging 10-course university level courses associated with it. And this is true for any master's degree. So a little more talk on what is applicable, what the differences are between the college system and the university system, and colleges are taking in much more students than universities, is our responsibility to communicate with them. Okay. The third point that I still feel, and maybe you, VH, can help me on this fact, how do these students at least know that we all exist? I've visited my own international office. They do talk about their services, what they provide. They provide one monthly diversity lunch group where students from all international students, so be it from South America, from Africa, from Europe, and from Asia, all get together and we talk to each other. And they do other things in terms of what services Ontario provides. But I am talking about the outreach programs that we are organizing, we are offering, we are saying we have. The CG gave a list of services they have for international students. Prashant gave quite a list of services based on Seneca College. But beyond that, the community outreach services, these students have no information. So often the international office in my university and University of Waterloo would identify people of Indian origin and call us and say, this student is in trouble. What can you do for them? Okay, I think we should go beyond that step. Now I have in my university included a package, a pamphlet when they check in, that these local Indian services are available to you. And they may throw it away in the beginning, who knows, but when they need it, at least we have done a due diligence in supplying it to them. So these are my primary thoughts. This is my first session with you. I would say to the organizers that it would be better if I answer questions, because the students who are here, somebody has sold them the Canadian system, somebody has sold them the Canadian programs, sometimes unethically, because the students come with one expectations and see there is something else happening. Sometimes they pay much higher fees to take some courses and then end up with nothing in the end, no certificate, no degree, no statement. And those are the ones that I really want to stop. In terms of experience. So thank you, and namaskar to everyone. If I can at this point, I can take questions.
Hi, Mitali. I'm Shiva here. Namaskar. Just I want to know that you highlighted the things in high level, certain things, the eligibility and the issues, all these things. How to get more information or detail about this? Even though I'm not a student, I'm reaching 50 plus. Many students are reach out to me as well as from India also. They are asking for guidance, but I'm not able to give proper guidance because I'm just giving, check the website here and there, but I don't have experience also in this. So how to give in-depth detail and guidance to them?
Yeah, you're doing correct. The best thing is to guide them to the admission requirements of each program, right? So let me pick MBA in my university as an example. It outlines what they need. They need a GMAT. They need a 4-year honors degree, undergraduate. Okay. I'm just giving you that as an example. So university websites and admission requirements per program are outlined on websites which are authorized and cleared by Senate. So there is no wrong information there. Chances of misinformation is very low. When some middleman recruiter is selling a program, the chances of misinformation and misinterpretation is much higher. So in the example that I was using, this 4-year honors degree program is often not misunderstood by our Indian international students. They all mostly are enrolled in a 3-year undergraduate bachelor's program, and that's fine. But if you go to the Ontario graduate admission rules, that is, it's administered by Ministry of Colleges and Universities, then it clearly defines what a 4-year honors degree program is. Now, I'm not saying if you came with a 3-year program, you can never get into an MBA program. No, we also have other guidelines. If you get a GMAT above 700, and then if you take about maybe sometimes 5, sometimes 10, depending on where the student came from, university level courses, and show that you can handle university level courses, then admission can progress. But the expectation that if I did a 3-year business degree in Conestoga College, I'm going to be admitted to the MBA program at Wilfrid Laurier or McMaster or Western, doesn't happen. And that's where I feel very bad that somebody misled them.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Great insight into it. I think that's one of the questions we have from one of the students here, is that how to find out the reliable and ethical sources. So I think if I'm reading your statement correctly, Mithaliji, then the government resources are the most reliable one, and our institutes' direct resources are also very important, right? So students should double check both of those, apart from if they are connecting with a recruitment agent to reconcile the information.
Absolutely. UFT has a grade evaluation process where we send transcripts, and it can work in the other way. India doesn't give out high grades. You're getting an A+ or above 90 is a big deal in India, right? I mean, getting first class is a big deal in India. And yet here, the minimum entry is a 70 grade, which is a B-, and that doesn't qualify for a first class in India. So I actually worked with my university to show them the transition, that the Indian grading system is the old British system, and therefore the transition is different. So now, even if you have a second class but a high GMAT, I have admitted students into our MBA program based on the grade conversion. And UFT, University of Toronto, has a formal Ontario-approved grade evaluation process. Any student can put in their grades and get it evaluated to know where they stand. It's the name is on the website. It talks about the Ministry of Colleges and Universities, OCGS, grade evaluation process. And I again reiterate, formal university websites are much more reliable, because anything that goes on a website has to be authenticated, has to be approved by Senate before we can put it down, and then we have to follow those requirements. We cannot ignore those requirements.
Thank you, Mitali. Leading to the next question, and actually this question was the very first one. It came from Gupta Raj. He is having a 9 years experience, and maybe this is a question open to all the professionals, if anybody can guide Gupta Raj here. He is having 9 years experience, and right now he's allowed to work only partially because of his visa restrictions. So only 20 hours a week is what he is allowed to work. And he's an IT professional, so he's looking for some job or stint in IT itself. What might be the resources or guidance for him to find out such type of job? Because mostly IT companies are looking for full-time 37.5 hours of weekly type of resource availability. Prashant ji or Mitali ji or anybody else here in the panel?
Well, I think, hi, Abhay, this could be an immigration question as well. Like if he gets an offer, for example, from, I'm just giving a general information based on my understanding. So means, but like Naresh ji could be ideal person to guide the participant. So if he gets a job in one of the Canadian companies, there are different ways through they can convert or they can change their study permit to a work permit. So that could be the route for him to look for a full-time, because yes, the study permit would have a restriction of 20 hours per week. And under the compliance, he has to comply. Means if he is looking to get a postgraduate work permit, he has to meet all the conditions before he applies for a postgraduate work permit. So again, it's his complete choice, but immigration consultant, certified immigration consultant would be the right person to take his case.
Okay. Thank you, Prashant. Maybe I'll put another context of this question, that do you have any understanding or knowledge about any such type of companies or resources that you are aware of that provides part-time job offers for students?
Well, all our placements for international students is done through the co-op and career services that the university offers. So whatever hours restriction they have, whatever work permit is there, goes through that process. Outside of that, if this person is able to secure a job and then the work permit becomes an issue, then Prashant's idea of finding a way to get that work permit extended. Often companies actually even apply for extended work permit, but we have a big problem. We still have to prove that we don't have an equally qualified Canadian person who can do the job. if there is an equally qualified Canadian person who can do the job, then the international status person gets secondary opportunity. So our hands are tied in that way when we go through the university. And I was, I know the Honorable CG has left, but my question to her was going to be, have they, or was it Nina who said that they've extended the 20 to 40 hours? Was that a temporary measure for a pandemic? Or is it a permanent thing?
Mitali, it was a temporary measure, but we'll have to look into it. And
Okay.
also with regards to Abhishek ji, just if you may permit, I can answer that question. If you are here on as a student, right? So the government expects you to be studying full time. So you cannot have it both ways. So you'll have to wait till you finish your course and then you can work 40 hours. So you cannot logically defend the argument that I'm here to study and then I want to work 40 hours a week. So you can have certain exceptions showing, what the requirement of the courses are and what your requirements are. But when you're here on a study permit and because of the study permit, you get work permit or you're allowed to work, then you cannot say, I want to work full time now. You can change if you apply to change from study to work permit, then you can definitely work full time, but it would be in best interest to finish your course first. And even if it is for a year, and then you get a year's work permit. In that meantime, you can apply for permanent residence, depending on your work experience. If you're already experienced, then you will have enough points with valuable Canadian experience and education to qualify for direct PR. So I hope that answers your question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry to
if
interrupt.
If I may add to what you just said, this is not discriminatory. Even domestic students cannot register in 5 or 6 full-time courses if they're working beyond 20 hours a week. Now, if they hide under the table and do that for other reasons, we can't trace them. But anyone who's a full-time student has to be, can only have part-time job of 20 hours.
Great.
That's for domestic students as well.
I think Dr. Raja has something to say here. Go ahead, Dr. Raja.
Yeah, so to reiterate the question, so my intention was to ask, I want to work only 20 hours, but finding a white collar job versus an odd job is very hard here because, getting into a white collar job is my challenge here. And again, talking about the internship part, since we have already 9 years of experience or 8 years of experience into IT, when we apply for an internship, they say you have an educational gap. Maybe for an example, I can call it out like, I recently applied for Bill and then they rejected my profile saying you're overqualified to be an intern. So this is the challenge we are facing because since we had previous experience into IT and then we are here for our masters, so we are not able to crack any basic interviews like, the white collar jobs of 20 hours per week into IT specifically, or something like, Canadian government is offering something, we can do some tech jobs a part of it, but we're not able to crack anything into it. Only thing we will be able to find is, maybe something like, a sales associate or something like a store associate, a store, maybe you can call it out. Generally how the students do, but even though we have skills in certain industry, why the Canadian companies are not convinced this person cannot work for 20 hours and they do the job? Because since we have enough experience into IT, I've seen so many companies in my life, and then what we do in ground reality, how many hours we work and how we effectively manage the particular area, right? It's more than enough to work 20 hours per week. So that's my point. That's kind of a debate I would call it out. Is there a way, is there our speakers who are here, have anyone crossed this way as kind of crossed this career path, who are cross anyone who have cracked this wall? We are not able to figure out which company is offering so and so that we can knock their door and get our job, get back that. So it's something I'm looking out.
So what you can do is you can, connect with us after the program. The best way to do is to get in touch with a consultant who's working with these companies. So the consultant, because it depends on your skills, right? In IT sector, it depends on what your skills are and what projects can you work on. So a consultant who is actually employed or contracted with these big companies can probably, based on your, sorry, was I muted before, I guess?
I think you just got me by
Oh.
mistake. I did it. Sorry.
You just went off for a second.
Okay.
You're
So
back.
if what we can do is, there are a couple of independent contractors, if I say, or consultants who have projects with bigger companies who can possibly help you out there, because they might be looking for certain projects to be completed, and they can clock hours for 20 hours and kind of help you out in that ways. So we can connect you with those and the IT experts, and they can tell you more about it, right?
That really helps. Thank you.
Yeah, great conversation. I think other students are also finding these things as more insightful. Moving to the next question from Shivam Brahmabhat. It's a catch-22 situation. If we don't have experience, we don't get job. If we don't get job, we don't get experience. How to tackle this problem for the entry-level people who are just coming out of from their education and from their colleges? Prashant ji or Mitali ji?
Yeah, I mean, this has been around from ages, when we, even in our generation, in the 1960s, and some of my colleagues have been here, we get into this. I think the colleges have set up a good system where they're bringing international students and including work experience in that package. At least that's what I've seen in Conestoga College. Universities don't do that unless you're in a co-op program. So if you're in a co-op program where, sorry, I missed the other speaker's name who had the issue of 9 years work experience. You cannot get into a co-op program if you have a 9-year work experience. So there is a roadblock there as well. But generally, if you want to go through an education system, getting work experience, best is a co-op program. With its roadblocks, which clearing sometimes becomes a hassle. At Laurier, if you have more than 2 years work experience, they don't think you need a co-op, okay? I have argued for them, some of my international students, and managed to move them into co-op. But it's an excellent process. In the MBA program, they get an 8-month co-op experience in our 1-year MBA program. And that's a great experience to take it on your resume to find a job. Other than that, of course, I think they have relaxed. The employers have become a little more open to foreign credentials without having something from here. But the problem is there is a government regulation. Every time we get a foreign trained person in a job, we have to show that an equivalent domestic trained person, and we cannot find an equivalent domestic trained person, and that becomes a challenge. Anyone else wants to answer? That'll be great.
Yeah, Abhi, I can add to it. So like as Dr. Mitali said about the co-op program, this is a feature in colleges that colleges are very well known for offering co-op programs, and we call it as work integrated learning. So that work portion is embedded in the curriculum. So students, if they meet certain GPA requirement, they would qualify for the co-op, and it will be the college's responsibility to arrange those co-op programs. And many of our programs have mandatory co-op and some have optional co-op. Some student who would like to graduate faster, they may not take the optional co-op route and graduate fast actually. But many programs would offer 1 semester program. For instance, like in our degree program in software development, we offer 3 paid co-op terms. So 3 times students will get an opportunity to work with the industry. And you can understand if with such an experience working with companies for sure, as he graduates, he would be able to work either with that company or with any other company, because we are preparing graduates who are able to work from day one. And another reason, like there is a difference of education system, Indian education system and Canadian education system within the provinces. India has top quality educational institutions. Like here, I can see from IIT AC representation is there. IITs, IIMs, top quality educational institutions, but at the same time, there are many educational institutions in which quality is a serious concern. And that also brings to an issue of people having so much experience from India are not able to get in the Canadian job market, is based on that mechanism also, that why Canadian institutions are conservative and they are not able to accept credentials from all the institutions, and they have to rely on organizations like WES, World Educational Services, or ECE for credential evaluation, because the understanding of Indian education system for a Canadian institution is limited. So it would be fortunate, Laurier will be fortunate to have someone like Professor Mitali, who will be able to understand the Indian education system and give that guidance. But not in all universities you will have such professors of Indian descent with that experience who can guide the admissions department or explain that process of Indian regulatory mechanism to the admissions office. So that's why those challenges are there. Best way is for students to see that what is their skill set they are looking to do and what programs are meeting their requirement. And again, all international students are not the same. Some students are qualified to go to an institution like UFT and do a master's and PhD, but many students may not qualify. You will see that how rigorous the process is, even for domestic students here in Canada. How many of they qualify for a PhD, fully funded PhD from Concordia or from UFT? So that's why there is a system of community colleges as well to accept students. But at the same time, it is important for practice at what are the best practices for colleges to follow and adhere, so that they are able to guide the students properly. Because there are a large number of students from India. You see the demographic dividend of India. India has the youngest population in the world. So India will always remain as the biggest exporter of talent, to global talent, to the world. But not all Indian students would be able. UFT has a capacity, L'Oreal would have a capacity, same with colleges. Even Seneca, we have a capacity, and we have also reached to our maximum capacity to accept students. So that's why students also have to see that what institutions could also be a right match to them. If they have aspirations to do a PhD, of course they should look into applying to UFT, UBC, these universities. But at the same time, if they want a practical experience, get in the job market, work, they can take a route of polytechnic type education, what Seneca is offering. Thank you.
Thank you, Prashant. Great insight. Yes, sorry, Mitali, go ahead.
Yeah, Prashant, because Prashant talked about quality of education, and I had talked about cultural education, the differences in cultural norms. One of the things really struck me is students, when they submit papers, because of the quality of education they received in India and the norms followed in India, they often don't know that Googling stuff and just cutting and pasting and producing a paper is academic cheating. And I have seen Indian students crying in my office when as an associate dean, saying, but I researched this article from Google. And immediately I have to explain to them the difference that was acceptable in India and here is a big difference. You cannot just cut and paste other people's work and call it research. And the academic misconduct penalty is pretty high, to the extent they are sometimes let go from programs. They are given a 0 in the course. The poor parent in India has spent $3,000 to support them for their course. So I'm bringing it back because it was in my mind, and information like that should be in the cultural education to acclimatize them to the Canadian world. And Prashant touched upon the quality and is related to quality.
Great. That's really very valuable information, Mitali. And yes, I think when we look into the Canadian market, I'm an active recruiter in my personal professional life. I find out that these things really stand apart. Quality, persistency, and the skills. These three things should be there, and rest of the things are automatically gonna fall in place when you go out in the market one day or the other. Patience are really key there. I see Saurabh Yadav has his hand raised. So if you want to add anything here.
Sure, thank you. I'm Saurabh Yadav and I'm a regulated consultant. Thank you, Prashantji, for inviting me. Prashantji is kind of my mentor to international students. Otherwise, I work in the policy area. But just extending the points that Dr. Mitali and Prashant had said, and from the recruitment thing, the students are here, and that's why I'm pitching in, that you have to network. You will not find a 20-hour slot on the LinkedIn, or sorry, on the Indeed or the Monster job that just 20 hours are available for the particular program course. Again, the good point that I think Naresh had said earlier on, that you have to respect the conditions of your study permit. So 20 hours will remain 20 hours. With the 9 years or 10 years experience, it's not going to be a straight path. You have to basically go on the LinkedIn. You have to form these networks. You have to identify the employers, identify the projects that they are doing, make up your cover letter, resume, speak to them, do informational interviews so that they get to know you in person. They get to know you they put a face to the name, and then you would go ahead and then say that, okay, you are available for short-term courses, and therein you would bring in your background, which would be valued. So it's not going to be a straight path that you would have a list of the companies which are looking for 20 hours or 30 hours of jobs. You have to find that niche within the company, within the corporate sector. Gupta Raja, this is addressing your point. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, great point, Saurabhji. I'm really happy and excited right now because in the background, I'm hearing a lot of people even offering for mentorship for such type of seekers and students. So that's a really good beginning. People are coming up to help and support all these students. I think
sorry. Yeah, so we do run, and Prashantji also helps us to provide guidance, a Canadian International Professional Network. So we have around 200 PR professionals who have different kinds of experience, starting from like new PRs to going back to up to 5 years or 10 years, the seniors, and we try to help international students out through that network. So if the international students wants to look it up, they can just look at Canadian International Professional on the LinkedIn. Otherwise, they can get in touch with me and then or with Abhi, and then we can coordinate that. But the purpose is on a voluntary basis to help them understand what Professor Mitali was saying, the cultural norms, and what Prashantji was saying about the quality of education, to make them understand how the Canadian market is so very different from the Indian market, how it has to be addressed with a different mindset. Thank you.
Great conversation, great insight, and a very active engagement. I'm sure students who are listening to these invaluable advices, they're gonna have a lot to take away, and also even engage other students to come forward and grab these opportunities by working with us. Networking is a very important thing, as Saurabh Yadav ji mentioned. So maybe with this, I will move to the next question, which is from Purvi Jain. She asked about how to tackle the so-called bias in the Canadian job market, and maybe some of us has indirectly answered that question, where she's asking that when I'm having the same course and same skills, and if I go into the market to look for a job, the Canadian gets more preference than us. So how to tackle those types of challenges and be successful in obtaining a job? Anybody want to take Prashantji or Mitali or any expert panels here?
So thank you, Abhi. I think I will just add on to Saurabhji's point, actually, that networking is the key, plus adding activities like volunteer work, to the resume will help you and stand out in the crowd. Plus preparing resume in a Canadian way that is more acceptable to the employer, having those keywords included with how the search goes. Because, you know, I also hire staff members, and those hirings are publicly it's a public hiring process, and we see that how the resumes are screened with the keywords, and there is no interference of any individuals in it. It depends on what keywords with the skill sets are there. That's how resumes are screened and they're scored, and then it comes to us as hiring managers to see that who are the top 3 or top 5 applicants, and then we call them to the interview. So I think that understanding is very important, that how to crack the Canadian job market, how to prepare your resume, networking, volunteer, adding your skills, keywords in the resume so that it goes in the search. So many of the things are job market. At times it is hidden as well, but many times I think it will depend how you present yourself. So getting your study permit approved is the first step, and then completing your education with the good GPA, having that co-op experience, and then adding the volunteer work, plus networking with communities like Saurabhji's network or even VHP as a group. So many mentors I can see here from Surendraji, Vishwasji, all these are like good Canadian success stories. And these inspirations, like Dr. Dwivedi is there, if anyone wants to get in the medical field, no better guidance he could provide. So these would be the people. You have to see your mentors. And I think the program what Surendraji has proposed with mentor mentee, I think that would be the way forward for international students to network in the community and then get in the job market as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Prashantji. Yeah.
If I can just briefly add to that, if you are a student, be it in a college or a university, your career and placement services should be able to walk you through your resume. How have you written it? How do you perform in an interview? I believe my university does that with all the international students, and Prashant can talk about Seneca or other colleges. Use those services. It's not just what my friend told me or what my community uncle and aunt told me. Okay, use those services. And please remember, when an employer is choosing another student, they have some obligations in terms of respecting diversity and human rights and all that. So they'll be pulled up if they don't do that. So most employers try to honor those, but ultimately it becomes the best fit match, right? So even in a couple of points, if you don't come across the better fit or best fit because of the way you talked or whether you expressed your ideas, whether you came across, those things catch their eye. They want somebody to hit the ground running tomorrow, unless you have some exceptionally skills that they cannot do without, then that's not a problem. But there's at least 20 of them vying for one job, and they go for the best fit normally. I'm going to respect honesty here, and that's the problem. So try and clean out what your deficiencies are through your career consulting services in the colleges or universities.
Thank you, Mitali. Surenji, over to you. I think we are just doing a quick time check. We are at 3:43.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead, Surendraji.
I think the discussions have been very, very provoking and thoughtful. And with these kind of discussions, we can definitely make a very good action plan for mentor-mentees program going forward. And I think Vishwa Hindu Parishad should remain on top of this kind of projects and carry forward. And I'm also very happy to see some of the other senior IITians who have come today, like Bibu, Raghu, Ujjal, and the current president, Bishwas, is here. So this is also very encouraging. They all have time now and they can be good mentors. And before I go to the next program, in fact, another surprise today I saw among the audience, and I'll take a minute to share my story. When I finished my graduation in 1973, the mentor-mentees, I'm saying it doesn't end at one stage. Even when you leave college in India, also go to a new city, take up the first job, you are lost totally. You need somebody to guide you. And today I'm surprised to see that I thought I'd become too old. My mentor of 1973 is sitting in the audience today. And I'm seeing him here and surprised to see none other than Rakesh Goenka. He was in my building in 1973 in Calcutta when I joined Usha fans, and he used to be in IBM in Calcutta. And I used to get every 10 days pronta from Bhabiji in the same building. So I mean, this is how I mean, sometimes he guided me initially when you get into a job also, or you initially come to a new country, you need a elder brother to hold your hand. So I'm seeing Rakesh Goenka here today, and welcome to this group. And now I come to the last segment, and we have a very experienced person like Dr. Shwendra Dwivediji with us today, and his team here to tell us a little bit about their experience so that we can adopt that and also use their expertise and spread not only in Toronto area, but we want to go to other cities also and make it successful. Let me tell you something a little bit about Dr. Dwivedi. He has served as a Chief of Department of Anesthesia and President of the Chiefs of Department Committee for over 20 years at Santa Cabrini Hospital in Montreal. So he's a very senior person in the community in Montreal, very well known, very well connected. He graduated from McGill University with MD CM degree in 1982 and finished his residency at the Royal Victoria Hospital in 1987. He is a fellow of the Royal College of Physicians and Surgeons in Canada since 1987. For his long-standing community work, Dr. Dwivedi was also awarded the Humanitarian of the Year Award in 2005 by the Indo-Canada Chamber of Commerce, 2015 by India-Canada Association. Most recently, Dr. Dwivedi received the Dr. Albert Chincosta Award for Distinguished Medical Services to Santa Cabrini Hospital in 2020. And he has got another colleague with him from Montreal. She's Miss Shalini Toscano. She, from the age of 17, Shalini was born and raised in Montreal, Canada, channeled her passion for women's rights and social justice by dedicating her volunteering efforts towards women and children's causes, having grown up in a home where there was domestic abuse. More recently, she has added grief awareness and suicide prevention and mental health advocacy to her list of causes after losing her husband, Anand, in a suicide case. A youth mentor at Big Brothers and Big Sisters of Greater Montreal, coordinator counselor at the WIN Home Women's Shelter in Mumbai, and active fundraiser for the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention are just a few of her efforts to make the world a better place. So we have these two people who have given a lot of social service. So let us hear their views also, how we can adopt some of the programs here and also use them in Montreal. Over to Dr. Dwivedi.
Thank you very much, Sundarji. It's a pleasure to be with you all. I must congratulate you on an excellent program. I'm just in awe of the speakers and the panels, hearing Prashant with all these details and Dr. Mitali Dey and Naresh Bhai, and it's just amazing. I think the students who are listening really take advantage of the information that's being presented and really, reach out to people. Our team at SAYO Canada is there when things don't work out well the way you expect it to be. 11 Canadians commit suicide every day. And we work in trying to help people go through periods of depression and suicide ideas. So I would leave the floor to Shalini, who is our executive director at SAYO Canada. And just to let everyone know, we're coast to coast. So we're in every major Canadian city. If there's an issue that you need help with, please feel free to reach out to our executive director and she can guide you to resources in your area. So Shanti, would you please do the honors and let the audience know what services we can provide. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So basically what had happened was in 2020, when the new ambassador had stepped into his role, he had come across the news of several Indian international students having taken their life. And that was when Dr. Dwivedi and Professor Rajesh Tyagi approached me, because I had been doing quite a bit of mental health advocacy since my husband's suicide. And we've held 3 webinars since then, and our vision and mission is to be able to provide a support network to the Indian international students that are here. Ultimately, we want to be able to start training students so they can do peer-to-peer mentoring, and ultimately we'd like to have them take over and run this organization. And I was actually speaking to the head of an organization, South Asian W organization in Ontario this week, and she was basically saying that it's actually too late when we try to deal with the students when they come to Canada. So what their organization has started to do is they've reached out to colleges in India, and they're having webinars with the students over there, and they're asking the parents to sit in with them, because quite often the parents have unrealistic expectations which they put onto their children, and when they come here, they're struggling with several challenges of coming to a new country. And so we'll be having a meeting with this individual next week, and we're hoping to collaborate with several other organizations that are in existence across Canada, and sort of be a main point of contact for the students that come here, so we can direct them to the resources that they need, whether it be mental health resources, counseling, food banks, shelter, employers. And this is ultimately what we hope to do. And we'd like more feedback from students themselves in regards to what they need and what kind of support that they're looking for. And we want to create a safe space where these students can come in and speak to us about whatever issues they have, family issues, domestic issues, sexual abuse, whatever, any sort of harassment. These are things that in our community, we have a tendency to brush it under the carpet. And we want the students to know that you will have confidential and safe and non-judgmental space to be able to speak and have the support that you're looking for. Because it's not necessarily that you will find that sort of support from your own families and your parents, because there's a limitation in regards to the support they can give, the understanding that they have in regards to these such situations, because most of us have grown up in a situation where don't talk about it is how they approach these circumstances.
Thank you, Shannon. Just to add that, what illustrated, I'll give you a good example. You're a young woman who's starting work, your part-time job, and there's sexual harassment going on. You can't speak to your family about it. They're gonna say, oh, it must be you, the way you're dressed or the way you're acting, instead of realizing this is a problem it's a societal problem. So you need somebody to talk to about it. Well, we're there to talk to, and we can direct you to the resources that exist in your community. And that is something that's very important, because we don't talk about a lot of issues that affect us. One example that springs to mind, I remember just a few months back, this young man was almost suicidal because he had failed a course and he was gonna be kicked out because his visa was coming to an end. His sister was getting married, and he went to the student counseling services at his particular university, and the counselor just sort of almost laughed in his face and, well, it's your sister's marriage. If she doesn't get married, it's no skin off your nose. Why are you so concerned? So there's a cultural difference. That counselor, who was Caucasian, had no idea what a loss of face, because this person was a particularly small village in Punjab, it is for his family if the marriage doesn't take place. and he cannot understand that. So that sort of thing where there's cultural understanding of what someone is going through can only be given by someone who's lived it or knows about that culture. And that's where we're trying to fill that need or that gap. And we're always available and ready to listen. So I think I'll stop there. So if anybody wants to ask any questions, Shalini are available to answer them.
Sure, Dr. Saab, thank you. And Shalinji, amazing. Now I'm just jumping, though I'm not supposed to be, I'm just supposed to be the technical help in the background. So my question is it possible to get some information, and what we can do is we can put it, we are trying to create a resource on our website where we can put information about where students can go to, like, because we would be reaching out as a Hindu community advocacy and interest group. So there would be students we would be reaching out, or people we would be reaching out. But when they come to a website, they can go to this certain page where there would be information about Sahyog as well. So if somebody wants to, they can contact Sahyog, and make use of your expertise and services. So would that be okay if we can reach out and gather some information and put it on our website too for the students to reach out?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think they'll be able to go to our website. It's under sayog.com. And Shalini can maybe follow up with you later and give you details of how that can be done. We'd be happy to. We're here to help. So we'll be happy to talk with you.
And another point, Raviji, is that we as an organization have to collaborate with as many bodies as possible if you want to serve the community. All like-minded, small or big organizations have to come together in this as a collective team, involving the colleges, universities, and even all the schools and other social service organizations have to come together. So I think maybe the next session we can even invite more like-minded organizations to join. And I would like to also acknowledge here a very old friend of mine who is present here, who has come, and he's been involved in setting up the Satya Sai school here, Dev Taneja. He's here. So I think he's doing a lot of social work in various other bodies. So I think we can collaborate with them also, with even other spiritual organizations also, which are originated from India. I think we should, as an umbrella, work together and help and serve the community. And there's no reason why the students who come from India, they should not get help here and feel comfortable, feel homely here. I think I'd like to end with this and hand over for the last closing remarks by my other co-host, Abhiji. Abhi, please.
Thank you so much. Very enlightening, very engaging discussion. Time literally like 2 hours have gone, and we don't even, nobody even blinked, I would say. It was such an engaging conversation. A lot of invaluable inputs. I'm sure they are very, very important points for our students. I was literally taking the notes, so I'm sure some of the students who are on the beginning of their career, they might be taking it up. And as we mentioned earlier, that the monthly meetups are just our milestones. The actual journey continues after the milestones to reach the next milestones. One of the most important things that we are embarking on is the mentor-mentee program now. So we have a lot of experts here. We have a lot of professionals here. As a next steps, we are going to reach out to all of you. We have your email ID through your registrations, and ask for interested people who are the mentors and in which area they want to mentor people. Similarly, we will be doing another reach out to students to find out in which area they need experience in. Do they need a mock interview with us? Do they need any communication skill requirements? Do they need any job search like consultancy network, etc.? So we will build up that perfect match, and then engage one-to-one networking between the mentors and mentee. That will be our homework for the next month, and then we'll take it from there. I'm hoping that all the students who are here, they are going to become our brand ambassador and encourage other students also to join and benefit from this this type of meetups. Before we close up, we were running a lucky draw question answers behind the scenes for the students. There were some very interesting questions, and I'm really encouraged to see that a lot of questions were answered correctly. So heartening to see people have a very good understanding of our culture, of our belief and our dharma. In the end, I think I got just one person who has answered 4 questions right. And so by default, there's one selection for that. So Gupta Raja is the one who has answered 4 questions right. Congratulations to Gupta Raja. There's a gift coupon on your way after the call, and we'll share that with you shortly. Coming back to the last point, I know it's 4 p.m. Still, we have a couple of things to complete. As a next step for the next meeting, our goal is to run a competition. This is a very important opportunity for our students to showcase their presentation skills, showcase their communication skills, and showcase their professional confidence. So as a part of the competition, we are asking students to present a business idea. They can bring the business idea through themselves, or they can partner with other friends. Let me share my screen quickly so that we can take it up. Let me know once you guys are seeing my screen. Anyone? Just quick yes, no. Okay. So as part of the Vish Hindu Council, Vish Hindu Parisad, our competition for next month is we want to pitch a business idea by the students for the environmental sustainability. The pitching statement is an idea to develop environmental sustainability in your community, region, or country with the following parameters addressed. How you define your environmental sustainability? What will be your business ideas, business sustainability, and the growth type of the idea? Are you looking into a service offering, educational offering, or a product offering to the market or to your customers? And then what is the growth model? Final point is that if you have an idea and if you have a prototype about it, even a blueprint of it, think about it, tell us, and then we can look at it. This competition will be opening up tomorrow, and it will continue for rest of the month. In next monthly meetup, we will start the evaluation of the business idea. This is not just for you; it is open for any other international or Hindu students in Canada. We will be sending out the flyers shortly about it. Whoever wins, there are some very attractive prizes for this competition. I think with this, we are good for now. Surendraji, over to you.
Surendraji, you're on mute, so kindly unmute yourself.
No, I think that's fine. I've already given my last views, and I'll leave it to Ravi and Abhi to close.
Raviji.
So yeah, we can close by saying Shanti Mantra, Sarve Bhavantu Sukhina, praying for everybody's happiness and well-being. So yes. Those who obviously we cannot all unmute and say it, otherwise we will not be able to, coordinate well. So me and Abhiji will say it on this, and everybody else can join in on mute. So Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha. Sarve Santu Niramaya. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu. Ma Kaschit Bhagave. Om Shanti Shanti. Dhanyavad, namaste, dhanyavad everyone. Thank you for joining in. Have a wonderful weekend. Hope to see you in the next session. Namaste ji.
Namaste. Namaste.